I went to visit my sister in the States. And believe it or not, the defining moment is when we went grocery shopping and I was in Walmart looking at the cheeses and the cold cuts and the hams.
Okay.
It was just like a light bulb moment. I think like, no, I'm going back home. And I said home. That's the first time I couldn't wait to leave America and come back to Serbia. Lo and behold, I came across this place. Bačka Palanka.
Okay.
The reason why I chose Bačka Palanka is because it's not a village, it's not a city, it's in between. You know what the scariest thing was for me? Resigning from work in Australia.
Meet Suzanne. She left Serbia when she was 2 years old, went to other countries before ending up in Australia. Today, we talked to Suzanne about her experience of leaving Serbia, what life was like in Australia, and what brought her back to Serbia and how she feels back in Serbia after being away for more than 50 years. Enjoy. I'm sure it's been a change moving one country to another.
It has.
Yeah.
It definitely has. So, yeah.
And how would you describe Australia in one word now? And then, you know, after being there so many years.
Oh, one word. Okay. Melting pot.
Is it really?
Melting pot. It's a little mini universe.
Yeah, it is on its own, and it's not what it used to be.
Oh, definitely. Because when we moved over, I was 4 years old, and going to school there, it was, I guess, you had the Australians and then you had the ethnic, and we were actually called wogs. That was very derogatory. So it was sort of like them and us. And always used to get, I guess, laughed at. What kind of food you would be eating or bringing to school, your lunches and that. But, and now when you look at it, you know, there's Mexican, Greek, Italian, Lebanese, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, and yeah, it's definitely changed.
And now since you've moved back, how would you describe Serbia in one word or a couple words even?
How would I describe Serbia? People are extremely friendly. Resilient.
It's a very good way to put it, because I never thought about it that way, but what they've gone through,
Yes.
and the way they still are, you know, stuck in their ways, which is a good thing and not the greatest thing at the same time, because adaptability is also a way to move forward. But yes, the Serbian people are resilient and they're survivors, I would say big time. Yeah. What is the one thing that made you sure that moving back to Serbia was the right choice after being in Australia for so many years?
Well, I can't really say the one thing.
Okay.
It came down to my mum, who actually is living here in Serbia. We have found when we used to speak with her, we assumed that she's got like dementia. So we were really concerned about her. And having 3 siblings, the only person out of us 3 kids that would be able to come to Serbia and look after mum was me.
Of course.
And yeah, that was the only sort of way that we could do it, because mum was so adamant she did not want to go back to Australia. Her words, I want to die here.
Interesting.
So, yeah, and I just thought, yeah, I'm coming here.
Making that move.
I'm coming here. I'll be close to mum to look after her, yeah.
You left Serbia as a child, like you just mentioned. What do you remember from Serbia as a child, if anything? How was life back then?
I was born in Serbia. I left. We left Serbia when I was 2. The whole family moved to Austria. We were there apparently for 2 years. So at the age of 4, we moved to Australia. So I don't remember anything as a child. I even have maybe 1 or 2 like flashes in Austria. That's it. Nothing as a child.
Nothing that holds you. So it's almost like you're coming to a brand new country altogether.
Yeah, Yeah. And I mean, I was born here, but we actually speak Slovak, not Serbian. So growing up in Australia, my parents always said, when you're at home, we speak Slovak, and when you're outside, well, you speak English. So at home, it was always Slovak.
And so how did you actually get to the Serbian language then?
I was about 16, 1983.
Okay.
We came to Serbia for a holiday. That's the first time I actually saw
The country.
the country
Yes.
itself. And my grandma lives in a little village called Silbaš,
Okay.
and went to visit her. And, coming from Melbourne, it was a massive culture shock, massive culture shock. Being in Melbourne, my parents were very strict. We were very limited in what we can do, where we can go, and etc. They were just concerned about our safety. So coming to Serbia at the age of 16, there was a lot more freedom. Everyone was sociable, going out, discos back in those days. It was just a completely different world for me. And you learn quick.
Yeah, you adapt to it because the languages have similarities, obviously.
From like a little bit of Slovak to Serbian, some, but pronouncing the sh, those type of things. So yeah, you do learn pretty quick, and so that's how I sort of picked up the language, very basic, grade 1 level.
Yeah, but and so now obviously you're back here, and it's easier to pick up on that language now that you have to actually speak and interact it more often, I'm sure, than it was at 16, because you just came here for a little bit and then went back to Australia.
Yeah.
And so do you find it challenging now?
Not so much. I was really surprised because back in 2019, just before COVID, we had like a family reunion, and we met up in Budapest. And then from there, we came to Serbia. And the last 2 weeks that my sister and I visited Mum here, I remember walking through Novi Sad in the shops. Everyone was speaking English. I was just like, where am I? It's not how I remembered it, when I was 16 type of thing. It was just so different. Yes, they did speak Serbian, but I just find now the younger generation speak English. So that helps me. But I still want to learn how to speak Serbian, because I find that if the Serbian people see that you are trying to speak their language, they will bend over backwards to help you in any way. And that is such a beautiful thing.
For sure. Well, it's nice to adapt to another country and the way they speak and the way they live, rather than them trying to adapt to you, which many people think.
Yeah. And anything that I don't know how to say it, if I get stuck, if I don't know a word or anything, I say it in English, and they sort of like answer in Serbian. I'm thinking, oh, hang on, they understood.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's good.
So one thing I find is a lot of people say, no, I don't speak English, because they're not comfortable speaking English. But then when you say something in English, they actually understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and they answer in Serbian.
Yeah, which is
sometimes English. Yeah.
True enough, yeah, because they want to practice, of course, sometimes themselves too. When you did leave here, what was the story that your parents told you when you left? Like, why did they leave Serbia originally?
For a better life. They left for a better life. That's why they left Serbia at that time, and that was like in the late 60s, to go to Austria. And they worked, I forget the name of the town, but it was a vineyard.
Okay.
And they lived there for 2 years. And at that time, that would have been like 1970, the Australian government was wanting migrants from Europe to migrate with, special skills to help boost their economy for, I think it was like really low airfare price or whatever it was. So thousands came that way.
Now it's almost full circle that you left with your parents, and now you've come back, just like myself. My parents left for a better life, and now I've moved back for essentially what I'm considering
It,
a better
it,
life.
it is, because I thought about that and I thought, oh my, like my parents came to a country not knowing the language, small children, suitcase, and that's it, start your new life. That must have been scary as, but I'm quite fortunate that I know a little bit of the language. But yes, here I come with one suitcase and start a new life.
So when the idea of moving to Serbia first crossed your mind, was it a slow build or a moment's, this is it, I'm coming to Serbia?
It wasn't a moment thing. It was a few, like several things. It was, I guess I was like in a rut. And the main concern was my mum, who was like quite deteriorating. When we talk with her, she'd be very forgetful, repeat things, and it just was a bit like more and more.
Yeah.
And then I remember once my sister sent me on YouTube this program about a YouTube about a woman from Australia who sold up everything, and she was about a couple of years older than I was. And moved to Spain. And just watching her and how she went about it and what she has based on her, Australian pension and things like that, is just like a light bulb moment. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why not? And then I started looking into that. And then I was just like, I got sort of disheartened because I looked at Spain, I looked at Portugal, I looked at Italy. And it's just always, when you get down to the nitty gritty, it will just work out to be, you have to stay in a certain country, you have to apply for a temporary visa, and then you have to renew that after X amount of years, and then you have to have X amount per, monthly income, you have to have X amount already in your account. And then I just thought, well, hang on, I was born in Serbia. I've got the citizenship. My mum lives here. I got a place to stay. And Serbia is right at the threshold to all of Europe, if not right in the middle. I thought, why am I looking at other countries? So that's when I started looking at YouTube videos and just like Serbia, like, retiring to Serbia and things like that. And lo and behold, I found you.
I came across my channel.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I thought, this is it. I'm doing it.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's and you got a great point, because coming from Canada and Australia also being a huge country itself, we're very logistically positioned where we can access any country you want in a matter of hours. Where, and I'm sure in Australia you can drive you can't drive outside of Australia, but you're driving hours and hours and you're still in the same country, much like myself in Canada. We're driving 3 days and we're still in the same country.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sort of, I mean, you probably see this, when they show your country compared to Europe and whatever. Australia, you put that onto, a map of Europe, it covers it, and there's bits that still exceed.
Yeah.
So Australia is, you could say, almost like, a little bit bigger than all of Europe.
Yeah, of course. And that puts it into perspective of how big it actually is and how much you can travel in that one country.
Yeah.
When you decided to actually move here, what was the thing that scared you? Because you obviously purchased a property. Was it the whole idea of reestablishing your citizenship? Was it actually just, how do I make this all work? So what was this scary part of actually moving to Serbia?
You know what the scariest thing was for me? Resigning from work in Australia. That was the most scariest, because I'm on my own, and having employment, resigning, there goes my security. That was the most scariest thing for me. Like, what if I don't like it? What if I, don't like it and I have to come back? Or like, who's going to employ me at my age? I'm almost 60. Like, that was scary.
Like many other individuals, like that's your lifeline. And if you don't know, and it's hard to redesign your life or reinvent yourself, after doing the same thing for so many years.
Yeah.
So,
Because I was in the industry that I was for like 35 years, and like, I'm too young to retire, as in old age, to get my old age pension. I'm too young for that, but I just feel like I'm too old to get a new job. So it's
Age is only a number is how I look at it though as well, right?
Believe it or not, like when I said I grew up, as a child in Melbourne, and when I was in my 20s, I moved to Sydney, and I lived in Sydney for like 25 years, give or take, and then I moved from Sydney to Brisbane.
Okay.
It was very hard. I was in my late 40s. And when I was moving, I went through about 2 or 3 agencies to make sure that I would have a secured position, a job there. And coming from a managerial position, I did get jobs, but they actually called me 2 weeks before I was supposed to officially resign from that job and physically move to Brisbane. And I had to decline because I said, well, no, I'm still living in Sydney. I don't technically resign and move it until, 2 weeks' time. And then I will need at least a week to settle and change, because you're moving states, you need to change your car registration, connect everything, furniture, set up. And so I'll need about at least minimum of a week. And lo and behold, 8 months, no job. And I even tried for Aldi, they wouldn't take me.
Wow.
I had all the qualifications. I was overqualified.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with age, because why would you hire almost 50-year-old when you can get a 20-year-old?
Yeah, I look at it also, they got the experience of all those years, right? It just the education doesn't back it up. Experience also talks, but companies are different, especially corporations these days. Yeah.
And it is. I found it very hard, very, very hard.
So when you actually came here, now you set up your citizenship, and then you started looking for a house, obviously, which we're at right now. Very beautiful house. I gotta acknowledge that part. You gave me the tour. I love what you've done with the place, the layout, and everything. What was your experience with purchasing the property, working with a realtor here? What was the whole experience of searching for that ideal place, which you've obviously found now?
Well, when I actually did finally make that move, which would have been, I've got here like in August of last year.
Yes.
I set myself 12 months to really have a look, experience it, and then buy a house. I wasn't just going to come and just buy a house willy-nilly. I wanted to find an area, have a look, but be very close to mum as well. So even though mum is she's got cognitive decline, she doesn't have dementia, which is a good thing, I guess. She's fearlessly independent. So leaving her there is a good thing, because it still gets her going every day. So something close to mum. So I gave myself 12 months. And I think 6 months being there was around the Christmas, New Year period. I went to visit my sister in the States. And believe it or not, the defining moment is when we went grocery shopping, and I was in Walmart looking at the cheeses and the cold cuts and the hams.
Okay.
It was just like a light bulb moment. I was thinking no, I'm going back home. And I said home. That's the first time I couldn't wait to leave America and come back to Serbia.
Wow.
That was the moment.
Interesting. And so you found home. And so what was that experience of actually now finding that ideal place to call home, not just Serbia as a country, but that house? How was it working with that real estate agent, finding a real estate agent to begin with? Yeah.
So when I came back, and I was so glad when I remember landing in Belgrade, and I'm thinking, this is home, home sweet home. And what I actually did was get a little book and then just look at Google. God bless Google. And Google Translate.
Of course.
I looked at towns between 20 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 200, looked at towns and wrote them down, and then just YouTubed everyone. Exhausted every single YouTube that I could see and just cross it off, a tick or a cross. Lo and behold, I came across this place, Bačka Palanka.
Okay.
The reason why I chose Bačka Palanka is because it's not a village, it's not a city, it's in between. So it has doctors, it's got a little mini, I guess, hospital type of thing, lots and lots of shops, stores, furniture shops, shoe shops, markets, bus stop, Lidl, it's got everything.
Yes.
And it's close to Mum. And I thought, you know what, it's even got a bus stop from Bačka Palanka to Novi Sad, 45 minutes.
That's right.
Yep, you can get like an Uber or a taxi, it can get you there in 30 minutes.
Yep.
If you're like my next door neighbour, you can get there in 20 minutes. So it just depends.
Yeah.
So it's really close. And I love the idea that people get out and about on their bikes. You can go to the markets, you can shop and stuff. I thought this is the place. So once again, Google properties, and I found at the beginning, they don't tend to go through like real estate like we would, like in Australia, Canada, America, Zillow or anything like that. They go through Facebook and Instagram.
Right. Serbs are very popular for that. Yeah,
and so as soon as I thought, why they do that? So I remember clicking onto that and I went, look at all these, so that's the way they do it. And I just thought, yep, okay, I like this one. And the one that came up all the time was Dvor, that realtor. And I tried Googling, Google Maps. I couldn't find it. So I was asking people, like, where's this? They said, oh, yeah, just up here next to the coffee shop. And so I went there. She was such a lovely lady, bless her heart. She went out of her way to do everything. Later on, I did find out that when you go through a realtor, you go through them through start to finish.
That's right.
So she would, he or she, but in my case it was a she, she shows you the place, she prepares the contracts, the legal documentation, all the way through, right up until you get the keys.
Much different than what we're
in Australia, exactly.
Yeah.
You get the real estate agent, those like realtor, and that's where it stops.
Yes.
Then you get your either solicitor or a conveyancer. They prepare all the the legal side of things.
Sure.
She was wonderful.
And then what brought you actually to working with us then? Because if they were able to if the real estate agency or the realtor was able to take you from point A to all the way to the end of the closing, what actually brought you to working with us?
Yeah, as I mentioned, when I was looking at coming here at the beginning where I found you, Relocate to Serbia, I really liked everything that you said. You were very informative. You gave all the facts. You weren't like talking. You gave the facts and they were spot on. And I liked that so much. And so that's when I decided, yep, I'm going to get Andre to help me, because speaking with Jagoda, the realtor, a lot of the documents that she was showing me were in Serbian, as in the Chirilica, not Latin.
Cyrillic, yeah.
Yeah, in Cyrillic. I can't read or write. And I just thought, nah, Andre, I need your help. And so that's what I did. And honestly, best thing ever.
Appreciate the kind words.
Best thing ever. I couldn't have done it without your help.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And it was great meeting Jagoda too. Like you said, great lady. Not that she had any ill intent. It's just it made you feel a lot more comfortable working with someone who is able to.
Yeah, and that's what I said to her. And I mean, as soon as I speak Serbian, you can tell I have an accent. I'm not from here. I'm a foreigner. And so I did say to her, look, I want to go through this company, Relocate to Serbia. They help foreigners, that want to come to Serbia. She was fine. Later on, I found out she could have put her foot down and said, well, no, we don't do that here. But she said, yeah, not a problem, not an issue.
Which is rare to find from a realtor, that is allowed for someone to work with other individuals, because then it's out of their control and out of their wheelhouse, and so
Yeah,
which was nice. And I wouldn't have met you any other way, which I wouldn't be here today sitting
yeah,
and checking out the wonderful property you
yeah.
purchased, having coffee and having this conversation. For any, not only Australian or any other foreigner, what should they know that nobody tells them when it comes to purchasing a property?
What I didn't know is that when you do buy a house, you're basically buying the shell of the house.
For sure.
Kitchens do not come included. Bathrooms are very basic. I found that all need remodeling, but empty kitchen, there's no kitchen. Fixtures, as in sometimes, they may have an air conditioner, that's taken. That's not left behind. Lighting's not left behind. Kitchen, as I said, is not left behind. Anything, they could have some kind of a huge shelf that's, screwed into the wall, a cupboard or whatever, that's taken as well.
If it's not put in the contract.
Well, that's the thing. I assumed that, when you buy a house, like in Australia, when you do, the walkthrough to have a look, when you buy the house, what you see is what you're buying. But in Serbia, it is not the case. So you need to, I guess, go room for room and really look at everything other than the walls. What's attached? Is that staying? Is that going? Is that staying? What about this? What about that? And what about that? That's the only thing that I found out, I guess, the hard way. Now I can start to live my life
to the fullest.
And the beauty of that is also when I said that, when I was in the States, I want to go home, buy a place. The lifestyle here is just so relaxed. I'm loving it. And when I'm pottering around in my garden, I can hear children playing in the street, riding their bikes, playing basketball, rollerblading, just the kids' laughter. You don't get that in Australia. No one does that.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you for doing this with me today, and it was a great honor.
Thank you to you and Relocate Serbia and to your team.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You.